Meeting's about to begin. Today is February 5th, 2025. The time is 6:02. Liz, please call the roll.
Councilmember Archie? I believe Councilmember Bax is excused.
Person Bax is excused for tonight.
Miles? Councilmember Zajac? Council Chairperson Perry?
I'm sorry, Councilmember Miles will lead us tonight in our opening exercises.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to serve. Grant us wisdom, clarity, and unity as we make decisions for our city. Guide our words and actions to be fair and in the best interest of the people. Bless the community and keep us focused on progress and service. In your name, Christ Jesus, we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, tonight we have no presentations, so we will move right into the public speakers on specific agenda items. Now, as a council, we have met and we have decided we are, our rules say specific agenda items, so if people want to speak on specific agenda items, we are permitting specific agenda items. But last couple times we had people wanting to speak on all agenda items, so we're not permitting that. This is a period when they can speak on specific agenda items and they will identify what those agenda items are. So at this time, Liz, do we have anyone speaking on specific agenda items?
No, sir. I do have 2 listed speakers, but they have not specified. They've kind of put 1 through 12. So I don't know specifically. It's the entire agenda.
Okay.
So I don't know if you'd like for me to call those speakers and they can specify what it is they'd like to speak about.
Incidentally, there aren't 12 action items. So when the rules refer to agenda items, it's a reference to the legislative items that the council is going to vote on. And tonight there's only 7 of those.
I have a correction though. I believe we have someone speaking on agenda item 1, and I believe they signed in on a different sheet. You didn't?
No, sir. It must be on for the good of the community.
Yeah, I think he signed in on the wrong sheet.
Yeah. So are you saying that the speaker signed the wrong sheet?
And he wants to speak on agenda item number 1. Mark?
Okay, is that Mark? Okay, my apologies. So with the rules.
We'll allow that. Go ahead. Agenda item 1.
Okay, if that be it, then the only speaker that has specified an item would be Mark.
As an exception, agenda item 1.
I apologize for that error. I didn't have my reading glasses on. I'm Mark Batesold. I'm the Executive Director of Heart, Love, and Soul, and I'm here to talk about our application for the ARP funds. Thank you, all of the council members, for the consideration of Heart, Love, and Soul's request. So we receive a number of funding sources through the city, CDBG, ESG. We also receive COC money to provide services specifically to people experiencing homelessness. One thing that we've noticed over the last few years since we've been operating our Daybreak program is that there's a lot of folks in need who do not meet the eligibility criteria for those funding sources, which essentially require people to be literally homeless per HUD's definition before they can be served. So a lot of our folks who are coming to us with needs are not eligible for the case management services we offer, with these ARP funds, which we propose to spend down over a 3-year period, we'll be able to provide case management services for folks who fall outside of HUD's eligibility criteria for people experiencing homelessness. So we can provide much more robust case management for a wider population of people who need our services. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. There are no more speakers for specified agenda items.
All right, moving on to our next agenda item. Do we have any administrative updates for this evening?
No administrative update.
Okay, community happenings to announce. I have a couple items myself. We have at the NAC, February 8th through the 22nd, we have a Woman of Color exhibit. I have handouts speaking over at the, I will have a handout that I will leave at the desk over there if anybody wants to look at it. And Parachute Credit Counseling has a virtual workshop on February 18th that I'll have more information from if anybody's interested in it. Yes?
Do me a favor and repeat, because I don't think some people heard or understood what was
At the
said.
NAC?
Or what was said at the beginning of the meeting regarding the agenda items.
At the agenda items, as a council together, we had gotten together after the last few times, and we said no longer will we accept anybody speaking on all agenda items. If you want to speak on specific agenda items or legislative items, you will identify what specific agenda item you wish to speak on. We will not accept someone speaking on all agenda items. Our rules for speaking on legislative items say clearly specific agenda items, not all agenda items. This was agreed to by all council members. So, is that right?
So question, that's another question that would be.
So if you look at the folks that signed in today, you have agenda items 1 through 12. We don't even have 12 agenda items listed. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. But we don't have 12 agenda items even listed. So we're trying to do this as an opportunity to give people the chance to speak on what is important to them and to cut down on the chaos.
When he signed the wrong sheet and he was allowed to speak. So he made an error, we made an error, and it's okay for him and not us.
So pick one and speak on one agenda
So let us pick
allow
one.
them to come and
Give them one.
one or two items or whatever that they're gonna pick to speak on.
This is the thing.
No, that's
Put down 1 through 12.
right. But we just brought this to them today. This is their first time hearing about this. So now that they know, it has to be from here on out. So at the end of the day, if they come up, they can.
Have an item that they want.
We'll let them choose that. If they don't have an item a specific item, then they won't have an item. It won't be just random. But at least they know.
They don't have an item.
We won't find out until we let them come up. And if there's out of our 8 or 7 items that we have, if they pick. No, we agreed to this moving forward. So I think that's the thing about it. So, right. No, my thing was this. So basically, I believe that of course we should, being that this rule has been brought publicly to the body, that this is brand new. You know, it's not new, but I mean, because it says it's normally specific items. But when it says when someone puts down all of the agenda items or whatever, and I can understand keeping everything in order or whatever the case is, being that it's new, that whoever signed in, they did sign in, and this is something that's brought today. I wouldn't say strike them completely of being able to speak, but then they should be able, when they come up, address which agenda item that they should that they're going to speak on, instead of saying, okay, so forget you, you're not going to speak at all today. I mean, I think that's fair, especially when we just brought it to him today.
Brian does have a legitimate point here, is that they put down 1 through 12. There aren't even 12 items on the agenda, so therefore, it's pretty obvious they didn't even bother to look at the agenda, let alone speak. All they want to do is speak. There's a period for them to speak after the business is conducted.
If someone had, if they have an agenda item, if they know the agenda item, right now, if you call them up and they don't know which agenda item that they want to speak on, then okay,
They can speak
they can sit
after.
down at that point, you know what I mean? Because this is the time for just agenda items only, and if they can speak on that, I'm saying just to strike it after bringing this to them tonight wouldn't be fair. I agree when it comes down to actually, you know what I mean, if you're gonna speak on the agenda items for the agenda item portion, and for the good of the community portion, speak on the good of the community, just to kind of keep, order. Yes, absolutely. But when we brought this to them tonight, we're saying, hey, you're not gonna do 1 through 10 or 1 through 26 or however many agenda items we have. There's one, or if there's 2 items or whatever the case is, but we brought that to them tonight. So it's like so we can call you, and then if you don't have an agenda item specifically that you're gonna speak on, then you can wait for the good of the community. But yeah, but that's called giving them, but to say, strip you of your voice and say you're not gonna speak at all is not cool, I guess. So I agree. So it's not that I don't agree with keeping it in order. I'm just saying, okay, well, now that we've made that clear, if you wrote 1 through 10, 1 through 20, whatever, okay, now you come up here, and then now you're gonna pick 1 or 2 items, and then at the end, if you don't know which one you're gonna pick, then okay, you gotta wait till the good of the community.
But how are they gonna speak knowledgeably on an item if they haven't even read the agenda?
It's up to them to speak on whatever it is that they want to speak on regarding each agenda item.
Positions that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
This is why you get
It
disgruntled
doesn't make
residents.
any sense for a person to speak on an agenda item they know nothing about.
Or they might come up and ask a question about an agenda
But we-
item.
we
It
don't
doesn't matter
answer.
what they're saying, as long as they're staying on topic about the agenda item, it's their right to speak on that specific item. I guess that's the only thing.
Brian?
Speaking on agenda 1,
Brian?
One, and who's the other individual?
Tanya.
This is not for an open dialogue, this is for the council members.
No,
Brian?
no, listen, but this is what I'm saying, so if they have the agenda item, let's let it go. One item. We know going forward, there is a rule that we are putting in place, that we are trying to enforce, to bring back some order to our council meetings. It is not to be disrespectful to anybody in here, but actually bring back respect to the body. So I'm asking, I'm gonna ask, please, we're gonna do this, let's, this is a give and take. That's fair. This is a give and take.
So, with everything that has been said, Council Chairperson Perry, are we deciding to have the speakers, or not, just in the best interest of time and moving
Let me
forward?
ask them, what agenda item would they speak on?
1,
Okay, excuse me, let me please ask, in order of the list. Council Chairperson is requesting to know from Tanya Barone, what specific item would you like to speak to?
That is pre-restraint on speech.
Tanya, you want number 4? Okay. Council Chairperson, she is requesting to speak on agenda item number 4. And Ms. Janine Gallo, can you please tell, okay, she's looking to speak on agenda item number 1.
Okay, Ms. Barone, speak on item number 4.
I would like to know, for the license plate reader project involving the Niagara Falls Police Department, I'd like to know where these readers will be placed, in what neighborhoods, because my concerns are privacy of the residents, and I understand the crime, but in my opinion, we have crime throughout the city. We have evidence of crime, and we have lack of investigation, and we have lack of police officers. So if we're not utilizing our police officers now and our investigative teams now, because I personally have friends and family members that were involved in victims of crimes. They have videotape evidence, they have the perpetrators, they identified them, said that they were moving forward with investigating an arrest, and then they've done nothing. So it's very disturbing, and I'm talking about murder. I'm not talking about little, the old lady got her purse snatched on Pine Avenue. I'm talking about serious crimes, and it's very sad. So are we going to be surveilling people now? Because that's what this state is turning into, and that's what the city feels like it's turning into, especially with our newly installed lighting project. It's also going to be surveilling facial recognition, weather, traffic, accidents. It's exactly what this is. So you could be driving in your neighborhood or pull up, on Pine Avenue somewhere, and these devices will be taking pictures of your license plate and tracking where you go, even though you're not committing crimes. If someone has an agenda against you in the city, they could easily find out where you're at all times. It's disturbing, in my opinion. So are they going to target certain people or certain neighborhoods? If you understand what I'm saying? Because it seems that it's already headed in that direction with code enforcement, parking signs, no parking signs. So those are my concerns. Is this more of a surveillance? And just because something might be free or the state might give us money and incentives doesn't mean that it's good for the people. And I know this because I fought with the school board over the millions of dollars they accepted during COVID to put masks on our children and keep parents out of the school. So I speak from experience with the whole state coming in and giving us money and us just thinking it's a great plan when it actually affects the people. We deserve privacy.
Our next speaker is Janine Gallo, agenda item number 1.
I'd like to speak on agenda 1. I'm not familiar when it says on the agenda from a memo dated January 25th, so I don't know how to get that memo. I don't know if it's online where we look up the agenda. Is that it? Okay. Because I'd like to recommend, I like agenda 1, and I'd like to add for the food bank, like I was reading this for a food bank for the people, I'd like to add for the cats and dogs on here, and I just wanted to know, now that Liz told me, where this memo is and how to get a hold of this food bank so that I could add food for cats and dogs without even asking for money. So that's all I was going to ask about agenda 1. But I support agenda 1. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no other speakers for legislative agenda items.
Okay, so we've gone to any other community?
It happens. Yeah. Next Wednesday, there is a Denny's night. It's going to be from 4 to 9 for the family engagement group. So if you go to Denny's and you buy whether you sit in or you do a takeout or whatever the case is, those proceeds would go to that community group that kind of helps deal with the youth in our city. So I ask anyone who can, next Wednesday between the hours of, and I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., anything you buy from Denny's, 20% of each meal will be given back to the family engagement group for the Niagara Falls High School students.
Denny's on the boulevard.
On the boulevard, yes.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, thank you, council members. We're now at section 4 of the agenda. We've had the packet since Friday evening. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as proposed?
Motion.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay, please call the roll.
Councilmember Archie?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion carried. Okay, now we're at section 5. We have a review of the minutes for January 8th and January 22nd. Are there any changes to be made in those minutes? If no, then may they be approved as distributed. Thank you. Okay, from the clerk's office. Do we have anything from our clerk's office this evening?
None this meeting, sir.
Okay. All right, now we're at the agenda items, legislative items. Item number 1, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve the revision of home ARP $200,000 grant allocation for Heart, Love, and Soul, Inc., and authorize the mayor to fully execute any documents necessary to effectuate same as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated January 29, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Archie. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. I will not restate the motions unless I'm requested to do so. Are there any information requests? Any opposition? If not, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie?
I abstain. Conflict of interest.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes,
3 yeas, 1 abstention.
motion's carried. May I have a motion for legislative item number 2, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve a renewed trolley contract with the NFTA for 2025 and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the same as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated January 29, 2025.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Are there any information requests? Any opposition? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes,
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion's carried. Item number 3. May I have a motion, please?
Okay. Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve the DPW facility and equipment rental fees for 2025 as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated January 29, 2025.
May I have a second, please? Second. Okay. Any information requests? Any opposition? Okay, Liz?
Councilmember Archie?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry?
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion's carried. Item number 4, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve the award of contracts for a license plate reader project to assist the Niagara Falls Police Department, and authorize the mayor to execute any documents necessary to effectuate same as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated January 29, 2025.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any information requests?
So,
Any-
yeah. So while I appreciate the idea, I'm wondering, how do we minimalize privacy, privacy with something such as this? I think it's important, definitely.
Excuse me one second. Can I have quiet? I can't hear the council person. So if we can kind of keep it to a minimum in the chambers, just so I can hear the recording, please. Thank you.
So I guess maybe not more information. I would, yes, more information, but I would ask that maybe we postpone, just to get a little bit more clarity with the project.
I can provide an answer on privacy. The software is designed to read plates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the software goes through the plates. If there is a suspect and that suspect is associated with the plate, you can figure out perhaps what road they left the city, what direction they headed, or where they drove to next after a crime scene. It's not a facial recognition software. It's strictly plate reader. And in terms of privacy, we all
like a
drive
toll.
around the city hopefully with plates on our cars because it's a legal requirement.
Yeah.
So to the extent that you're driving down a public street and someone may take out a camera and snap a photo of your license plate, that's not an invasion of your privacy. It's just not.
So is this like
It's-
the things that we're going through the toll booths with? This is what
Yes,
we're?
when you cross Grand Island Bridge,
Yeah.
those are plate readers. Now, when you look at those devices, it's hard to tell that they're cameras. They don't look like cameras, but it's the same idea. It's reading the plates. If you cross the Grand Island Bridge and you feel your privacy is being invaded, then you have to figure out another route. Take River Road, I suppose, but it's a feature of the 21st century.
What about
Plate
location?
readers are a feature of the 21st century.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Location then, do we have any information on where they'll be placed?
The locations have not been established, but let me say this. This council has to approve installation of any pole and camera that goes into the right-of-way. So you will be seeing the locations come to you for approval. But we're nowhere ready to bring those specific addresses to you. That's probably a couple months off.
So before this even before this happens, you're saying we will get?
Yes, because
Hear it.
the rule is that no one's allowed to put up a pole or any other structure in a city right-of-way without council approval.
What about attaching the reader to an already erected pole?
The poles for the city are going to be brand new. I can't rule out the possibility that the police department may identify a National Grid pole, for example. And even with the lighting project, most of the poles will remain property of National Grid. What we own are the light arms and the LED lights. So, but that would have to be worked out between the installation company and National Grid, because National Grid has to give its permission for any attachments to their poles.
But it wouldn't come to us then in terms of
I don't think it
location
would.
because of poles.
I don't think if cameras were put on utility poles that wouldn't come to you for approval because the poles are already there and they don't belong to us.
still information?
Yeah, we're still at information.
I'll wait till the next portion.
Any more information?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Okay, now we're at opposition.
All right, so I think the thing is this, I'm not really a fan or fond of what I would like to call a blank check vote. Right now, to vote on this without having direct information of where these things are going to be actually located, and not having a little bit more detail as to, like, it's kind of like, okay, we can vote on it now, and then it can be put up anywhere in any manner, and we don't have a clue, and it's out of our hands. And if it does seem to be somewhat invasive to someone's privacy, whether we like to call it that or not, I think it's it will be something that's already voted on, and there's nothing no one can do about it. But if we get all of the information and all the variables prior to, and we're able to see, okay, well, this is where it is, and this is, you know, main streets or whatever, and so if these cars go here, and then we can read the plates or whatever, we'll have the information in front of us that shows us exactly where it is, instead of us, you know, putting the cart before the horse. Let's get the information, and then once we get more detailed information, I want to be able to make an educated vote and not just stamp something just because it's in front of me. I think we should, so I would agree also as well to postpone at the bare minimum, because I'm a vote no if we vote on it tonight. So if we, just so at least it's not throwing it out, it's more so give us a little bit more information and a little bit more respect as to us as we have to vote for this.
The way I look at this is either you're for law enforcement or you're against law enforcement. We complain about.
That has nothing to
Hey,
do.
let me talk, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, I let you talk.
Go ahead.
Either for law enforcement or you're against law enforcement. We complain about gun violence, we complain about store robberies, we complain about, oh, someone's robbing the store, let's give them an appearance ticket, maybe they'll show up, maybe they won't. Either you're for it or you're against it. The police have had readers in their cars for years now, and you know what? Okay, let's let, you know, if you break the law, let's let them run free. Hell, we don't need law enforcement.
Okay, so hold on I'm gonna respect.
Let's just let everybody
give
run
us time.
wild. So we'll do that. Let's let everybody run wild.
So I think the
Okay?
thing is that I don't had absolutely nothing to.
Excuse me.
Right, and so here's my response to what you're saying. First and foremost, it is it's ridiculously facetious to think that me asking for more information regarding an agenda item that I have to vote on, that I have concerns about, that at the end of the day, when I go home, I got to sleep with the decision that I made. For me to ask for more information is to say that I'm against or for the police. That is asinine at the very bottom. That's so. With that being said, because I don't want you to putting stuff out in the open and trying to say something like that, to make that type of assumption that I'm going against the police for asking for more information about license plate reader, cameras, whatever. We don't even know exactly what it is. So my thing is that give us more information. And then so we can make an educated vote, because there's too many dumb votes that take place up here. Too many, and when I say dumb votes, I mean ignorant, by just the lack of knowledge. Biblically, we perish because of the lack of knowledge. So my thing is this: when I'm coming to you and I'm saying, hey, this right here, I can understand what they're talking about, but I would like to get a little bit more information as to where they're going to be placed strategically and how it's going to work for the city. And in that case, that doesn't make me against the police. So don't paint that narrative.
Are you going to seek the information you're asking, or are you going to wait for the next meeting and ask it again?
Don't worry about it. At the end of the day, I would make a motion for us to postpone it.
I will be glad to postpone it.
Thank you,
If you
sir.
get the information.
Thank you.
Right,
That's all we need.
Okay.
All of the ad-libbing, you can.
Brian, would you like to make a motion to postpone?
Motion to postpone.
To the next meeting? We'll postpone it till our next meeting, okay?
More information.
Okay, all right. Brian's made a motion to postpone.
Is there a second?
Next month, okay,
Second, I second that.
Thank you.
okay. Let's call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry.
Yes.
4 yeas.
Okay. Motion to postpone is carried. Item number 5. May I have a motion?
Yep. Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve, grant, and authorize the city clerk to issue a license to Niagara Coin and Collectibles that will permit it to operate a business as a secondhand dealer within the city during 2025, as more fully outlined in the city clerk's recommendation memo dated January 30, 2025.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Information requests? Opposition? Liz?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry.
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion's carried. Item number 6, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve a property damage settlement payment of $494 that will fully resolve the pending claim of Charles P. Rignall, as more fully outlined in the Acting Corporation Council's recommendation memo dated January 29, 2025.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Information requests? Opposition? Okay, Liz?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry.
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion's carried. Legislative item number 7, may I have a motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve a resolution relative to acceptance of the Northeast Data LLC DBA Block Fusion Draft Environmental Impact Statement and referral of the application to the Planning Board.
May I have a second?
Second.
Information requests? Opposition? Okay. Liz?
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Council Chairperson Perry.
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion's carried. Okay, now we're at the next session, public speakers. Liz, we have a list for public speakers?
Yes, sir. Okay, I have our first speaker is Gerald Skirlin. I'm sorry that he did list a topic, but it's I can't read it, so if you could tell us, Mr. Skirlin. Thank you, sir.
I said I could translate it for you, but I'm sorry, it's so ineligible I can't read it myself. I'm here to speak on the public good. Please listen closely to the words I say. Red, white, and blue. Shine, man, sun. Listen closely to the next two words. They're separated by a word that I will not mention. Dark. Imagine the word. And the last word is horse. So we have red, white, and blue. Shine, man, sun. Dark. Imagine the word and horse. One moment, I forgot something at my chair. I come here to express these messages to the people here today. I believe that I have sufficient responsibility to show the people what the signs say. These signs are directed towards the city council. The word that matches dark and horse, the words that Robert Restaino used to describe our councilman Miles, is beast. There is no other word. This is especially designed psychologically to bring this out. It illustrates intentional labeling of Councilman Miles as a beast. I believe in free speech. Here, scandalous. None of you remember this. 7 pages dedicated to free speech. 7 pages, written by, it's the Niagara Falls Reporter. I'm a reporter. I'm actually a reporter for the Niagara Falls Reporter. And these are my colleagues. They never, ever mention my name. Free speech is an aspect of national honor. But to have change, you have to be in it for the long run. And I've been in this for the long run. I've been in here almost 20 years. And I stand to gain. I stand to gain, and my family and other families stand to gain also. And we are determined to all rise together. And we are not going to be held down by nepotism and unfair democracy. You want to put your children into, if Mr. Miles put his kids into office, how much do you think people would squawk? And we're going to reunite the Democratic Party because I'm running for mayor. This is my official announcement, and I'm going to knock your heads together because you're going to get behind me and you're going to support me, all 3 years together, because I'm going to be the leader now, and we're going to go after the RIP, Republicans. We're going to do the Republicans in because we're going to unite the Democratic Party. Reunification, reshuffling, refreshing, and ready. Are you ready, matey? Because we're the Democratic Pirates and we're taking over now. Forget Ligamari, forget Borgatti, forget all those people because they just live in secrecy and silence. And Mr. Miles and Mr. Archie and Mr. Perry, you're all going to get behind me and you're going to push for me because I'm going to change the responsibility of the mayor to make it so that at the end of my 4 years, I ride on a pony on Fall Street, and that's about it, because I'll be waiting in a chair at the front desk as usher, and that's going to be the mayor's responsibilities. And nobody's going to lose their job. Nobody's going to get sent away. Everybody stays in their job.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you.
Our next speaker listed is Tanya Barone. Please specify your topic when you come to the podium.
I'm just speaking on the good of the community on many topics. I've been noticing what looks to be like an industrial site at 8644 Buffalo Avenue. It is called New Heights. And I looked up their website. It says they do yard drainage, leveling, shoreline reconstruction. It's next to Lane Funeral Home. They do stormwater management. It's kind of looking like an eyesore. I live nearby and I have to look at that every day. They have huge piles of rock, landscape stuff, and boulders, and it's just looking like a corporate junkyard for landscape material, but not even just landscape, it's like shoreline stuff, like huge. So it says that they're commercial, and I would think that that's like heavy industrial type. I mean, it's right next to a funeral home and like small businesses, and it just doesn't look like it fits in. And it's just becoming more and more of a collection of things that's becoming really mountainous. So I don't know if somebody can kind of look into that to see if they're supposed to be putting that right on Buffalo Avenue, because it's becoming an eyesore and it doesn't fit in there. I hate to be the one, but I feel bad for the people that are going into the funeral home too, because that's supposed to be an area of peace, and it doesn't look very peaceful with all this rubble piled up. Doesn't look like it fits in. The Goodyear plant, I did attend that, the meeting, the community meeting on the Goodyear plant, and they're releasing poisonous toxins into the air. The DEC and the state are aware. The mayor was not in attendance. There was a few councilmen there, and I appreciate your time in coming out to learn more about this severe issue that's polluting our area. It's orthotoluidine that is poisoning us. And the stack test that they said they tested, they're supposed to install some sort of equipment by next month that's going to reduce that emissions, but not fully. And we don't even really have accurate stack test numbers, because from my understanding, there was fresh air going into the stack test. So they're not accurate numbers, but that's a cancer-causing agent that's proven to cause bladder cancer, which to me is a criminal case, which criminal charges should be placed, because it'd be like me throwing an accelerant on you and with an intent to harm you. They obviously know what they're doing. They're a Fortune 500 company, which makes me wonder how many other states and other Goodyear plants there are around this country, or other countries that are doing the same thing. That's a much larger problem. But it was very disappointing that our mayor wasn't there. There was a county legislator there. There were attorneys there. It sounds like they've got a good group of citizens and professional people on board with trying to limit the toxins. The next thing I want to talk about is our garbage. I'm told that they're only going to pick up once a month, not every week. Could you imagine that? Breach of contract? What if the garbage company told us they were only going to pick up once a month? Would we fire them? We are still dealing with this pit chick and the breach of contract since day one. Her building just got sold. It's pending. Is she going to get kicked out? Her special use permit was not renewed. They're tabling it for 30 days to look for more information. She's getting evicted from Suite 1, which she's going to be down a lot of kennels. So that makes me wonder, what are we going to do with our dogs? There's a resident holding a dog from over the weekend. There was no animal control. She's still got the little dog. There was a dog on a school bus over in the Niagara Falls coach lines, in the bus. I have a picture. He might have applied for a job. We have a serious animal control issue here. I've contacted the commissioner. The city is responsible, not the residents, so I suggest you start figuring it out before it's another emergency, and do an RFP, because I already hear somebody online saying they're going to be already over in that building running it.
Our next speaker is Janine Gallo.
Got to go to a bowling banquet after this. We know how those bowling banquets go. Well, you all have received Paws in the Falls Eggs and Market. Got a call. We got our first dog in from the city of Lockport before the dog even made the facility. A concerned citizen, I think his name was Sam, called or emailed the concern of this dog coming to our facility. He was so worried at 8 o'clock at night. The dog wasn't even there yet. Okay, but the dog came, Eggs and Market came the next day, and she went on and on at how beautiful the facility was, and we passed. And the first time, that Sam guy with his 2 followers stated that he had proof that we failed. If you look at the documents you have, the yellow highlighted, it states, it makes it failed because we didn't have a signed contract yet. That's all. And I think Tom mentioned pass and failing. There's no such thing as pass or failing. It's just that there was no signed contract. But all the rest were yes and all ready to go. And again, we came. Then to find out that the last time Eggs and Market, because that's all we hear from the attorneys, Eggs and Market, till they passed, Eggs and Market. They haven't been there in a year. They haven't been there in a year. Eggs and Market is, not that it's nothing, but it's really nothing. They don't do the drugging the dogs. They don't do, after 3 days when they go to rescue buffalo, their hands are tied. That's it. So that's all she has to do is say, that's a rescue buffalo dog, and they can't see that dog, they can't talk about that dog, there's nothing they could do. So for the 3 days, and they haven't been there in a year, we can go on and on. But you were talking about passing some camera thing, and as long as, Tom says, as long as the council passes it, it's good to go. Well, the council didn't pass her renewal of her contract, and the mayor still did what he wanted to do. So really, why do you vote on anything, and why do you even table it? Because it doesn't matter if you say yes or no. They've made that very clear. I went to a Grand Island council meeting on Monday, and it was really nice to see the attorney there helping the council people, them being able to ask him a question instead of yelling at him or lecturing them or putting them on a clock. He actually helped them. And the council, the 5 council people were there, actually there for the people of Grand Island. It was refreshing. And at the end, each council member was allowed to answer any questions they felt they wanted to answer to the people. Or they didn't have to. But it was really nice to see that they were allowed to speak. Like that poor man that left, that nobody could say anything to. It's kind of embarrassing for the people that don't know what goes on here. And then as far as we're just going to pretend that your vote, it didn't even happen, that you were denied your vote. I'm under the understanding only the chairman can hold a special meeting, and you would think, other than it's for the dogs, that the chairman or the mayor can hold a special meeting, and I mean, as long as he's not in his pocket, you would think he would hold a special meeting and address the emergency issue of the dogs. Since she's only open 4 days, she can only hold 13 dogs. You have the list of violations that she's had for 18 months. The people in Grand Island are in an outrage of the dogs barking 24/7 in the dark. Sometimes they don't have heat, sometimes they don't have air conditioning. Of what's going on, the police are there constantly. She's barricading doors. Code enforcement has to come in there. Her website with the wrapping of the swear words on it representing Niagara Falls, all said and done. But he yells up there at everybody, but he has the right to hold a special meeting. It's been 1 month now. And everybody's, there's no other options. You know there's other options because we gave you a contract that you would be open 7/24. 3 DCOs, you'd have an extra cop to look at your cameras, and you're just ignoring it because he's told to ignore it. He's mumbled for a whole year, and all of a sudden the camera's here, and he can speak out loud where we can hear him.
Thank you,
wow.
Ms. Janine. Our next speaker is Arlene Jackson Doss, and she's speaking about the Beach Avenue Park.
Good evening. I'd actually like to include the 4th District altogether because a couple council meetings ago, I promised to bring the letter when a nonprofit organization was rejected the purchase of property on Highland Avenue to utilize our own funds to revitalize that 4th district, not requesting anything from the city of Niagara Falls. The other conversation we have had for 2 council meetings was turning over the property at 1300 Beach Avenue to the nonprofit organization so that we can begin construction in the spring. There has actually been an attempt to get 2 resolutions brought before this council. Unfortunately, neither of them have made it to the council for a decision, a vote, or even a consideration. We've been working on this Beach Avenue Park just recently for over 5 years. It's been a 20-year project. The problem is that even earlier this year, it was set, or the end of last year, it was set in 2023, the documentation was too late. Fortunately, those documents were completed in 2024, which doesn't make them too late. And there's really no reason, if the city find and make an effort to turn the property over to Niagara United Vision, we could actually begin constructing that park without the city of Niagara Falls funding it. I've talked to a couple of mayors also who says the process of the RFP, if another organization is actually going to pay for the construction of the park, there's no need for an RFP to go out. And also, we know we have to work with the planning department. So I sent an email out. I was hoping to get a response. We have visited a few small cities just to see how does the council respond to their constituents. I would have thought I would have received a call or email back or scheduled a meeting. Ms. Jackson, come up. We're going to talk about this. We're going to figure out a way to either turn the property over. Yes, we did ask to adopt it. And if adoption is the problem, then there should have been another way for somebody to explain, let's do it this way. Let's figure out some kind of way that we can actually do it. So my biggest concern, as I raised in the email, it really seems to be an intentional attempt to hold back the 4th District of Niagara Falls. The last thing that we actually had, other than the splash pad, was a pocket park that was left in storage by the Deister administration and helped funded by our last legislator. So is it really that hard to just say, they want it, give it to them? I'm sure there's some documentation to be done, and I do ask you, if you're going to have an attorney talk to me, and you don't want writing and things done inappropriately, please have that attorney take the time, write out, reference everything he's going to respond to me, and make sure I understand. Per so-and-so and so, we can't do this. Per so-and-so and so, we can do this. And per so-and-so and so, maybe we can make that happen. God bless you.
Thank you. There are no other speakers.
With that, the meeting is adjourned.